Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. This way, you'll never miss out on discovering which old coin in your drawer could make you a millionaire. Now, let's take a journey. A journey not just through time, but into something that might be sitting in your pocket, lost in an old box, or tucked away in a forgotten drawer. Something you may have looked at 1,000 times without knowing its secret. A single coin. Small. Copper. Worn with age. The 1988 1-cent coin from South Africa. To many, it's just a penny. 1 cent worth less than a drop of coffee. But what if I told you this very coin, this simple copper piece, could be worth far more than you ever imagined? What if I told you that 1 cent could turn into $1 million? You'd scoff, maybe laugh. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be checking every old wallet and drawer in your house. Let's take a closer look. Back in 1988, South Africa was going through a time of uncertainty, change, and transition. It was a moment in history marked by tension, resistance, and silent revolutions. Amidst all this, the South African Mint quietly produced millions of coins, one of which became a sleeping giant. A 1-cent piece. On the surface, it appeared ordinary. But some coins, as we now know, are far from that. The coin itself is made of bronze, just over 19 millimeters in diameter. It features the image of 2 delicate sparrows perched on a branch, symbolizing freedom, endurance, and the spirit of survival. The reverse side, as many South Africans remember, displays the coat of arms used during that era, surrounded by the bilingual name of the country. It feels light, maybe even forgettable, but there's something hidden in the details. You see, not all coins are created equal. Some leave the mint with subtle differences. A misprint, a rare strike, a minting error, maybe a slight shift in the die, maybe a double strike or a flaw so tiny you'd need a magnifying glass to see it. But in the world of collectors, these errors don't make a coin flawed, they make it priceless. Now picture this. You're sitting at home, like you are right now, and you remember that old tin you used to keep your coins in. You open it, you sort through it, and there it is, a 1988 1-cent coin. At first, it looks like the others. You flip it. The sparrows. The coat of arms. But something is different. A slight variation in the lettering. A line that shouldn't be there. A detail so subtle, yet so significant. You've just found what collectors call a unicorn. Because in recent years, certain versions of this coin, especially those with rare minting errors, flawless uncirculated conditions, or unique proof versions, have been sought after by collectors worldwide. Not just for their metal, not just for the date, but for what they represent, a moment frozen in time. A coin made in a country on the edge of change. A symbol of history, of memory, and yes, of incredible value. But why would someone pay $1 million for a coin that was worth just 1 cent? Because value isn't always measured in currency. It's measured in rarity, in demand, in stories. Think about it. How many of these coins were lost, melted, destroyed, or worn down beyond recognition? How many of the rare variants survived? And how many are still hidden, waiting to be found? Collectors, serious collectors, know that once something is truly rare, its value explodes. They understand that when demand outweighs supply, the price knows no ceiling. These people are willing to pay fortunes to get their hands on what others can't. They see coins not as money, but as art, as legacy, as investment. And when that kind of mindset meets rarity, numbers start to climb fast. You may be wondering, how can you tell if your coin is the one? Well, it's not easy. You'll need a trained eye. You'll need to study every edge, every curve, every mark. Look for a double die, a misalignment, a letter out of place, or even a difference in the weight. Some of the most valuable ones have small features that most people miss entirely. But if you spot it, if you hold that rare variant in your hand, you're not holding 1 cent anymore. You're holding a piece of history worth a fortune. This is why more and more men, especially those who've collected coins in their youth or inherited them from family, are digging back into their collections. They're opening old albums, going through forgotten boxes, and rediscovering the quiet treasures of the past. And they're not doing it just for nostalgia. They're doing it because one coin, one tiny piece of bronze, could change everything. Now take a second and think about that. 1 cent something most people wouldn't bother to pick up from the ground. Something you might have given to your grandchildren to play with. Something that seemed too ordinary to ever matter. But that's the magic of coins. The humble ones. The overlooked ones. They're the ones that come back to surprise you. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. The rarest versions of the 1988 South African 1-center coin, especially those with minting errors or in pristine, uncirculated condition, have been known to reach staggering values among private collectors and auction houses. The highest confirmed value paid for one of these coins? $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that once bought a piece of candy could now buy you the house of your dreams, the car you've always wanted, or give you the retirement you've earned. So check your drawers. Search those old wallets. Open that jar of coins you haven't touched in decades. Because somewhere, perhaps in your own home, a forgotten piece of metal is waiting to tell its story, waiting to change your life. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time, we might just uncover another coin worth even more. Thanks for watching.
Before I show you this unbelievable coin and its jaw-dropping value, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what comes next. Ladies and gentlemen, today I've got something extraordinary for you, or a humble little coin from South Africa, minted in 1994, with a face value of just 1 cent. Yes, 1 cent. But don't be fooled, this unassuming disc holds a story and a potential value that would shock most people. In today's video, I will take you on a journey, how a coin of near-zero everyday value becomes a sought-after treasure. And by the end, I'll reveal why I say it could be worth $45,000. Stay tuned. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that circulated among ordinary people, passed hand to hand, tucked into wallets, jangled in pockets. Few would ever suspect that behind its worn edges and faded surface lies an exceptional tale. That is exactly what the 1994 South African 1-center coin is, born of routine, yet capable of becoming extraordinary. First, let me walk you through the coin's origin and physical traits. In 1994, South Africa was undergoing monumental change. It was the dawn of a new era. This 1-cent coin bears both English and Afrikaans lettering, South Africa *SUID Africa, and the date 1994. The coin is made of copper-plated steel, weighs just 1.50 grams, and has a diameter of about 15 millimeters. The reverse side shows 2 Cape Sparrows, a modest design in the world of coins. The coin's mintage was enormous, over 239 million of these 1994 cents were produced. With that many in circulation, under normal circumstances, its value stays extremely low. In fact, for collectors today, depending on condition, that coin typically trades for 9 cents to about $1.20 for circulated or even uncirculated examples. So how do we go from less than $1 to $45,000? The answer lies in rarity, uniqueness, errors, provenance, and collector sentiment. A coin that seems common can become priceless if it has one or more of these special features. First, errors and minting anomalies. Suppose a 1994 1-cent coin emerged with a double strike, or a misalignment, or some missing plating. These freaks of minting are exceedingly rare, because nearly all coins are struck under strict supervision. An error variant could elevate the coin out of the mass and into collectors' spotlight. If you possess such a version in perfect condition, its value could jump dramatically. Second, condition matters. Most coins that have circulated for decades pick up marks, nicks, wear, and corrosion. But imagine finding one in perfect, pristine mint state, uncirculated, with full luster, no flaws. That is extremely rare given how light and thin these coins are. The fewer examples that survive in that level of brilliance, the higher the premium collectors will pay. Third, provenance and unique stories. If your coin can be traced back to a well-known collection, a museum, or has historical significance, for instance, tied to an important event or figure, that provenance can add tremendous value. Collectors often pay not just for the object itself, but for the story behind it. Fourth, investor sentiment and hype. Sometimes, markets move on emotion. If a famous coin dealer features your coin, if it makes headlines, if a collector competition arises, demand can explode. That alone can balloon price far beyond intrinsic rarity. Picture this: one day, a collector in South Africa takes his old showbox of coins and notices a 1994 1-cent coin that looks too perfect. He sends it to a grading company. When the slabbed coin returns, it's graded MS-70, perfect in every way. Even more astonishingly, in the grading process, the company spots a micro-double strike, an error invisible to the naked eye. Word spreads in the collecting world. Suddenly every serious numismatist wants that coin. Bids soar, auctions erupt. What was once nearly worthless becomes legendary. I'm telling you, that very scenario could unfold for your coin. Between you and me, many belief systems in the world of coin collecting hinge on possibility. This one coin has that spark of possibility. Today I want every viewer over 55, 60, 65 to think, maybe in your attic or old collection lies your own version of that legend. Throughout this video, I've taken you from the everyday face of the coin to the hidden potential. I've shown you how common coin can become extraordinary: error, condition, story, demand, those pillars of numismatic value. I've given you the tools to scan your collection for hidden treasures. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. What could this 1994 South African 1-cent coin command at its absolute peak? After long research, I estimate, not guarantee, but estimate, that in an ideal scenario, perfect mint condition, a major error, verified provenance, intense bidding wars, it could reach $45,000. Yes, $45,000. That number is audacious, but so is the potential. Is that realistic for most specimens? No, most will remain in the 10 cents to $1.20 range. But every now and then, one coin defies the odds. That is the magic of collecting. That rare coin is the one that turns a hobbyist into legend. If any of you watching own a 1994 1-cent from South Africa, take it out, examine it under magnification. Look for plating flaws, doubling, perfect luster, unusual striking. Get it slabbed by a professional grading service if it looks exceptional. You may hold more than just metal in your hands, you may hold the spark of something incredible. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, hit subscribe, like this video, ring the bell. Share it with friends, kids, grandchildren. Someone out there might hold the next $45,000 coin without knowing it. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your magnifier ready, and never underestimate the hidden value in that small copper disc.
Before we begin, if you're someone who enjoys rare finds, vintage coins, or hidden treasures from the past, hit that subscribe button now. This channel is built for collectors like you. Today, we're not just talking about a coin. We're stepping back in time to a moment frozen in bronze. You're going to want to stay until the end, because the value of what we're about to uncover might just surprise you. Take a moment. Think about the year 1969. The world was changing. A man had just walked on the moon. Music was transforming culture. And in the southern tip of Africa, a quiet revolution was also happening. A small coin, unnoticed by most, was being struck in the South African mint. Just 2 cents. That's it. But decades later, that tiny object would become a sought-after piece for collectors across the world. And you may just have it in your drawer, your old box of coins, or tucked away among your father's things. This is the story of the 1969 South Africa 2-cent coin. Now, I know what you're thinking. What could possibly be so interesting about a coin that once bought barely a piece of gum? But this coin is more than metal. It is memory. It is history. It is scarcity. And like all things forgotten, it has quietly grown in curiosity and, in some rare cases, value. Let me paint the picture. On the front of this coin, you'll see the profile of a man. Sharp nose, high collar, eyes set forward with purpose. That's Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator. His image appeared on South African coins for years. To the untrained eye, just another old portrait. But to those who know, it's a symbol, of origins, of legacy, of deep and sometimes controversial history. His face marks the beginning of the colonial settlement in the Cape. This coin, in your palm, carries that story forward. Turn it over, and you'll find something powerful, an animal in motion. The wildebeest, muscular, wild, caught mid-stride across the African plains. It isn't just a design. It represents endurance, power, and freedom. This isn't an ornamental touch. This is a stamp of identity. And that, right there, is what makes this coin more than change. It makes it a story. Now let's talk physical details, the kind that matter to the collector's eye. This coin was struck in bronze. When new, it glowed with a reddish-golden hue. Over time, it darkened, developing a rich, aged tone. That patina is part of its charm. The diameter is just over 22 millimeters. It weighs about 4 grams. You'd feel its age in your hand, its rough edges, the texture of decades. The edge is smooth, not reeded, which was common for coins of its kind. If you ever feel a coin like this and it has grooves on the edge, it's not the 1969 2-cent millions were minted. But millions don't last. Coins are lost, melted, damaged, tossed aside. So now, over 50 years later, the number of good condition survivors is far fewer than you might think, especially those that haven't been cleaned, scratched, or corroded. That's what collectors are looking for: condition, authenticity, and originality. Let's talk condition for a second, because it matters. If you have one of these coins, pick it up. Look at it closely. Is the face of Van Riebeeck sharp and clear? Can you see lines in his hair? Are the wildebeest's legs crisp and well-defined? Or is everything smooth and faded? The better the detail, the more interest from collectors. And here's a tip: never polish or clean it. That might sound strange, but collectors value originality, even if it's dusty or dull. A cleaned coin loses its appeal and often its value. Now, not all coins are created equal. Some were struck in higher quality as proofs, made for collectors at the time, with special care and finish. These are rare and, if untouched, highly valuable. Most people never see one in person. But maybe, just maybe, you've got something special sitting quietly among old things, waiting to be rediscovered. It's also worth noting that the language on the coin comes in 2 versions. One reads SUID Africa, and the other reads South Africa. They were made for bilingual circulation. Some collectors seek out both versions. Some specialize in just one. But either way, the version matters. It tells you about where and how it was circulated, and sometimes it affects value. If you're the kind of man who appreciates legacy, this coin will speak to you. You grew up in a time where objects had weight, meaning, permanence. This coin is from that era. It saw moments: births, deaths, marriages, first jobs, final paychecks. It passed through hands that built railroads, farmed land, and shaped nations. And now, you hold it. So here's what you need to do. Go to your coin jar. Check your drawers. Ask your father or uncle if they kept old currency. Look for the year. 1969. Look for the design. Van Riebeeck on the front. Wildebeest on the back. And if you find one, don't rush. Examine it. Appreciate it. Because even if it's not worth a fortune, it's worth remembering. Now I know you're wondering, what's it worth? This is where it gets interesting. A circulated, common condition 1969 South Africa 2-cent coin might fetch around $1. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on how clean, detailed, and preserved it is. But, and this is important, if you have a proof version or one in pristine, untouched condition, it can fetch much more. Some collectors have paid significant premiums for near-perfect examples. In rare cases, these coins have been offered for hundreds. And in the most extreme circumstances, certain proof-quality coins in auctions and rare private collections have reached up into the thousands. Though those are incredibly rare and unlikely to be found in everyday circulation. The bottom line is this: most won't make you rich, but some just might. And for those who see the value not just in dollars, but in time, history, and craftsmanship, the reward is already there. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story sparked something in you, a memory, a curiosity, or even a hunt for forgotten treasures, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be bringing more stories like this one, full of history, mystery, and value you can hold in your hand. Until next time, Keep collecting, keep remembering, and keep discovering.
Welcome to Coin Finder. Are you ready to uncover the hidden treasures that time has left behind? Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into the world of rare coins, you've come to the right place. Today, we're diving deep into numismatic history, exploring coins that carry memories, stories, and yes, even unexpected value. For those of you who've seen it all, from pre-democracy eras to economic upheavals, a coin's true value goes far beyond what's stamped on its surface. But here's a question for you. Do you know which coins are worth more than you think? Today we ask, what if that old coin sitting in your drawer could be worth $56,000? On CoinsQuester, we don't just talk about the rarest finds, we're revealing secrets to growing your collection, understanding real coin value, and showing how even the most common-looking coin might be hiding a fortune. South Africa, gentlemen, remember the 1965 2-cent coin from South Africa? To most, it was just pocket change, but today this copper beauty might be worth thousands, depending on its condition. Let's rewind. 1965 was a time of transition in South Africa, politically, socially, and economically. The 2-cent coin minted that year wasn't just a currency, it was a snapshot of the country's identity at the time. Back then, nobody imagined this coin would become a sought-after collector's item. But here's the twist. Some 1965 South Africa 2-cent coins are now selling for up to $56,000 in auctions and private sales. Yes, you heard that right. Let's break it down. Coin details: front, obverse, side design. Features Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator and founder of Cape Town. His portrait was widely used on South African currency during this era, a symbol of the early colonial period. Back, reverse, side design. Depicts two sparrows perched on branches, representing peace, harmony, and the natural beauty of South Africa. Below is the denomination 2C, with South Africa, Suid-Africa, and the year 1965 encircling the design. Metal composition. The 1965 2-cent coin was made of bronze, which gives it a rich, warm tone and a lasting quality. Edge. Plain edge, but don't let that simplicity fool you. This coin holds secrets, value, and collectability. While many 1965 2C coins remain in circulation or in collections, only a few were preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. A perfect mint state coin, with no wear, scratches, or discoloration, can fetch up to $56,000 on the collector's market today. These coins are especially prized if they were part of proof sets, special mintings, or have unique mint errors. What influences the value? Condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. A graded MS65 Plus coin is where the big money lies. Rarity. While the 2C was common in circulation, uncirculated versions or error coins from this year are extremely rare. Demand. Interest in pre-1970s South African coins is growing, especially among collectors looking to preserve African and colonial history. If you had known then what you know now, would you have held on to that little 2-cent coin? For many, it was just change. But today, it's a lesson. A reminder that in times of economic or political change, even the smallest coin can hold lasting value. Have you ever lost wealth to inflation? Have you watched your savings evaporate? Or maybe you've kept a few coins from the past, just in case. This coin is a reminder of resilience, and for some, a very real return on memory. If you've got old South African coins tucked away, now's the time to dig them out. That little bronze 2C from 1965, it could be your hidden treasure. Comment below. Have you ever come across this coin? What do you remember from the era when it was in circulation? Like this video if you've ever thought this old coin might be worth something. Share this with someone who grew up in 60s or 70s South Africa. Maybe they've got one of these coins in a drawer. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, because next time on Coin Finder, we're uncovering more forgotten coins with unbelievable value. Stay curious, stay informed, and let's keep unlocking the treasures of the past together.